Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's Reading the Red. This Tuesday morning is a bit cloudy out there. May rain today. Today we're looking at Matthew chapter 12, verse 6. And I finished off yesterday by saying that there was a conundrum in the presentation of this question argument that the Pharisees had brought to Jesus. They wanted him to justify why he was so keen or prepared to break the Sabbath. And Jesus is given an explanation. And then he uses an example regarding the temple priests. And really what he was saying was that the priests break the Sabbath every Sunday by doing the work in the temple. And so this sense of working and yet breaking the law and yet it being okay. And there's a sense in which Jesus is saying that sometimes it's permissible to step over that line. Sometimes we need to evaluate not just what the line says, but we need to understand that the line is there, perhaps for a season, in order for it to acknowledge and to provide. But at the same time, we need sometimes to see beyond what the reason behind the line was. And an example of that is when they brought Jesus, the woman, a prostitute, and she was going to be stoned because of her act of adultery. And as a result of that, Jesus asked them, justify yourself, you cast the first stone. And none of them could. And the woman is released by Jesus. And Jesus presents to us in that story the reality of God has provided the law for the benefit of man. And so when he goes on in verse 6 and he says this, he says, but I say to you that something greater than the temple is here. But I say to you, meaning ego eimi, I say to you, it's God who's saying this to you. I say to you that there's something greater than the temple here. And the temple represented the religious structure. It represented the law, the sacrifices, the priesthood. It represented where the people gathered. It represented everything that belonged to what was before. And in Israel, God had provided for the Jews a means to connect to him through the law, through the priesthood, through the sacrifices. That gave them an access to God that they never had previously. And Jesus is saying everything that represents what's been before, that you see as a limitation, which God provided for a season, has come to an end. That which was before has been because something greater has appeared. And Jesus is the something greater that has appeared, because what Jesus brought was something different, an alternative representation of God and a means to connect to God that they never had previously. And he's saying, look, the temple is here and it represented that, but something greater is here now to give you access to God. And he's trying to convey this to them and he wants them to know it. And brothers and sisters, that's the trouble. Once you have believed something, it's very difficult to unbelieve what you have believed. And yet, unless we repent of our believing in the thing that's been there before and take up what God has provided for the world now, we cannot enter into the kingdom of a relationship with God. And so the provision, Jesus represents himself by saying, something greater is here now. Have a great day and I'll see you tomorrow.